I'm not going to sit here and say I killed my husband. Just because I might be off 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. I did not.
Our story begins in Centerville, Iowa, a historic town with a rich coal mining heritage. On the morning of May 5, 2018, the Appanoose County Sheriff's Office Communications Center received a concerning 911 call.
Hey, this is Roger. There's I think a house fire at 828 South Park.
828 South Park, okay.
Yeah.
So you can see the flames?
There's smoke coming out of an open window and nobody's home.
I'll get a hold of the fire department. 828 South Park, right?
828 South Park, yep.
Smoke coming out of the window. All right, I'll let them know.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Neighbors attempted to help by calling out for anyone who was inside the burning residence. They received no response. Here's the body cam footage of the first responding officer.
Okay. Centerville 111.
111, go ahead.
Let the fire department know that there is a lot of smoke coming out of the east side of the house. Do you know if anybody's home? Or they all left?
Nobody's home.
Okay. Centerville. Also, the neighbors say that everybody has been out of the house.
Shortly after, Centerville Fire Rescue arrived on scene. The fire rescue chief, Vern Milburn, had his helmet cam on throughout the incident. When they opened the front door, a dog ran out of the residence, and there was heavy black smoke from floor to ceiling.
495.
You ready? Yeah. I don't think that hose, yeah, all we gotta do is follow the hose and we're gonna run into him.
All right, let's go. There's the fire, we better get that. The bonus. Yeah, somebody get a line, where's the line? How you doing here? Hold back.
The firefighters worked their way down the hallway and toward the active flames. The fire was primarily in the master bedroom.
Tommy! Grab a line! Where you at? Right here. All right, hit this bit. Let me see it. Got it? No, where's it at? Where's the nozzle? Bring it up.
As the visibility increased, the firefighters made a gruesome discovery. On the bed, they found the charred remains of a middle-aged man.
Okay, we got one. We need to do a search, see if there's anybody else. See if we're gonna.
We need to take him out so we can fight the fire. I must lost it in there.
Okay, let me see if that's what they want to do.
Back to the ambulance up there to block the view,
All
guys.
right. Well, we're ready to bring them out whenever you are. If I can get a bunch of guys up here, we'll hurry up and get them on that car. All right.
Let's get him out here so we can fight the fire.
Yeah, we're gonna get that. Okay.
This door's gonna be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, we're probably gonna have to bring him.
We got to bring him in there and
Yeah.
go out that way.
What I think too. Ready? Somebody else. Ready? 1, 2, 3. What we got?
Fire Chief Milburn is familiar with the owners of the residence. It was the home of Tim and Barbara Pasa and their 2 children, Owen and Kate. The firefighters recognized the deceased man as 50-year-old Tim Pasa.
We'll check the room real quick, maybe hit it, and then go do a search of the whole house.
Okay.
And then I'll have you back up through if you need help.
Alright. Okay, bathroom's clear. Yeah, bathroom's clear. Right here. Here, buddy. Okay, closet's clear. Alright. This bedroom's clear. Alright, I'm going down. Yep, that's clear. Take it outside, put it right out there. Buddy, okay. I'm right here with you. This room's clear. Let's open a window back here. I'm gonna check up here. Window's open. Okay, this room's clear. Get smoke out here. That room clear? Clear? Yeah, go ahead. Okay. First floor's cleared. We're going to the basement. Basement's clear. Yep. I think we're good, don't we? There we are.
They just said there's 2 kids. Are they accounted for?
Well, they wasn't here. I've done a complete search of both rooms. I'm going to go do it again. But one of the girls, supposedly somebody told me was on a bus to a meet or something somewhere.
There's 2 kids, and she was just wanting to make sure that they were accounted for.
Well, yeah, it would be Owen and his sister, Katie. But I think Katie, they said, was gone to a meet somewhere. I don't know about Owen.
The Centerville police chief, Tom Demery, was made aware of the situation. He was shocked to learn of Tim's passing. The two had known each other since high school. Timothy Dale Pasa was born and raised in Centerville. He attended Centerville High School, where he made lifelong friends. Family friend Sonia Carson said Tim was an all-around good guy. Chief Demery said that Tim and their friends would set up their instruments in his parents' garage. He said Tim played the guitar as well as anybody he'd ever heard. Rich Parker, Tim's friend, said music was his outlet, and that Tim was the lead guitarist in a fabulous country band. At one of the band's shows in 1999, Tim met 25-year-old local Barbara Glasscock. Sonia said that Barbara grew up in Centerville and that she worked as a nurse. She described Barbara as funny and witty. After a few months of dating, Tim and Barbara were engaged and then got married. Not long after, they started a family. Rich said that Tim was a very present father. He attended every event, and anytime they spoke, he bragged about his kids and what they were doing. Tim worked as a customer service representative for Alliant Energy, a local utility provider. Barbara worked as a nurse in the surgical unit at Mercy One Medical Center. A decade after they wed, the couple purchased and remodeled a home. From outward appearances, Tim and Barbara seemed to have a great life. Back at the Pasa residence, firefighters moved Tim's body into the ambulance. Inside the bedroom, Fire Chief Milburn noticed a candle on the floor. The smoke alarm inside the bedroom was also on the floor, and its battery was out of the compartment. Fire Chief Milburn said that the alarm was not melted or burned like in a typical fire. On the opposite side of the house, they located another smoke alarm between the two kids' bedrooms. The battery compartment was open, rendering the device inactive. Neighbors finally got in contact with Barbara, informing her of the house fire. She rushed to the scene. When she arrived, Officer Moore advised her of Tim's death. He said that Barbara didn't seem to have any emotion. Law enforcement and Barbara's friends believed she was in shock and overwhelmed. The police asked Barbara about when she left the house that morning and whether she knew why the smoke detectors had been disarmed. She told them that she left the house around 7 a.m. She had been baking the night before, and something had burned, setting off the smoke alarms. Barbara said Tim took the batteries out of the smoke detectors until the smoke cleared. Officer Moore told Barbara that Tim was in the ambulance and that he had been burned severely. She was insistent on spending some time with him. Officer Moore provided her a couple of minutes to spend alone with Tim. Sonia said that when she emerged from the ambulance, she was stoic. Sonia thought that when Barbara did have an emotional breakdown, it was going to be bad. Officer Moore told Barbara that an autopsy would be conducted. He said that she became upset and believed she should have a say in that decision. The officer thought that Barbara's reaction was unusual, but he felt she was probably overwhelmed by the situation. Police and fire personnel were concerned that Tim appeared not to attempt to move away from the flames. A fire marshal said that in his opinion, the candle wasn't the source of the fire. He said the fire burned rapidly on top of the bed and more intensely on the side where Tim was sleeping, which was the opposite side of where the candle was located. A few days after the incident, Barbara came in for an interview.
Hi, Barb.
I'm her dog. If you get her.
You better not sit that close to me.
Oh, you smell pretty good. Over the mic anyway.
You remember me then from
Yeah.
yesterday? All right, so my name's Don Secure with the DCI. Thanks for coming down. I know you got a lot going on, and thanks actually for calling and saying come early. Sorry we couldn't get down here earlier.
That's fine.
There's officers that walk by. It's okay if I shut this? Okay, it's not locked. If you want to just open that up here. How's things going with the kids and everything today?
We went and filed for the SSI benefits, so
Okay.
that kind of, Owen's trying to be the man of the house, so he's worried about finances and all that stuff, but for me today, it's probably the worst day.
Yeah, just with everything coming down.
I'm nervous about what, figuring out what happened and what's going on, and I don't know. Yesterday, talking about the arrangements and stuff, and I'm supposed to get a call from, he's supposed to have his autopsy maybe today.
Okay.
So I've been anxious about that call, and I can be cool and collective and nothing bothers me, but this has really got me stressed. Just, this processing having answers.
Right. So sometimes in cases like this, the police departments ask the fire marshals and then the DCI to come in and kind of help out, try to figure out what's going on. You know, these are sudden. Everybody wants an answer. You're going to want answers, kind of what we find. Owen and Kate, they're going to want answers on what happened with Tim. So we come in, we have the benefit of we don't know anybody.
Right.
So we can ask questions and talk to people, and we just don't know any history or anything about them. But it's also sometimes a detriment because I don't know you, and I got to get a little bit of background on you. And I know that's not the easiest to talk when somebody passes away, but I think it's important for me to get kind of an understanding of the house and kind of the situation in the last weeks and, the morning when you left, that kind of stuff. So I'd like to kind of talk about that if you're up to it and kind of go through that.
Try to do what I can.
Okay, so tell me, I guess, about you and Tim. Have you guys been married very long?
18 years, well, we've been 18 years in October.
Okay. And you work, right?
Yep.
Where do you work at?
I work at Mercy Medical Center, I'm a nurse.
What do you do there?
Right now I'm a circulator in the OR.
Sounds fancy. What is that?
Basically I do the charting, and if they need instruments, I get the instruments and bring the patient back, get them ready.
How long have you been out there? Is that here in Centerville?
It'll be 5 years in July. I did about 12 years of hospice.
Okay. That's tough.
I found it rewarding.
Yeah.
I've been diabetic since I was 16, so I need more structure. As much as I love the 3 12-hour days, you're not as productive as you think you could be
Right.
on those days, and just, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I saw you must take insulin for that then.
Got 2 healthy kids. And
Yeah, and I'm right with that's Owen and Kate. And how old are they then?
Owen is 16, and Kate will be 15 in June.
Okay. And biological kids with you and Tim then?
He played in a band.
And I saw the guitars.
Yeah.
Quite the collection.
Yeah, played in a band, and my niece actually, we were joking this weekend, hit on him, but she was currently in a relationship, and when he was just like, no. And so he chased me for a while, and I was chasing somebody else, and was kind of mean to him. So he should have gotten used to it.
Right.
And eventually, we're on a couple dates, and he was kind of a mommy's boy, and he was 30-something when we got together, so lived right next door to his parents, and the only band, at that time, bands played every weekend.
Right.
2 nights a week, so he made decent money to live on, but not to support family, but so he tended to his mom through the week and played in the bands. And Owen was supposed to be our only child because I was so high risk. I had to plan him for about a year, but Kate, she was a little accident.
Yeah. Tim worked, did he?
He was recently an Alliant,
Okay.
customer service. So when you called in, he's the one that you yelled at about why your bill was so much, or So it was stressful on him, but obviously he had good practice because he lived with me and Kate, so.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was that bad. He'd tell me some stories, phone calls. And
How was things going for him at work and at home?
well, he was really stressed at work. At home, we've been married 18 years. Just kind of getting different. We had different interests, and I had been doing different stuff, and he was playing with the band again, and we were just kind of in a lull, just kind of hovering.
Right. Yeah, I just had my 16th anniversary, so I kind of know that you kind of have those ups and downs. And, I mean, were you guys just like still together, or were you guys thinking about going your separate ways, or?
I get.
You always wonder. You kind of sometimes you stick together for the kids.
Sometimes fight, and I'm just want to know that every time, not just this year, other years when we fight, I tell him to leave, but he wouldn't leave his kids. I don't know that we were super strong and lovey-dovey, but we're still together.
Okay.
I'm not sure that happy would describe our relationship, but not unhappy.
Yeah.
We just kind of exist together.
Yeah, so it's like sleep together and everything in the same room. Yeah.
And the dog.
Yeah, and the dog. Yeah, your dog got lucky there, didn't he?
Oh, man.
And then your kids sound like they're active in sports, and you said track.
Track. Owen does soccer too, and Kate does soccer.
It's America, and it's a tough year for everybody, but I mean, how are you guys sitting that way?
Well, we probably live paycheck to paycheck. We got behind on our mortgage and had to refinance, and some creditors, but he stressed that stuff.
Were you guys able to find common ground at least to get that handled?
He handled the bills for a while, and then he got tired of it and kind of half-ass handed them back to me, but then he'd pay certain ones, and there's passwords now that I don't know because those are the ones he did, and
right.
I just kind of live a little too freely and have a little online shopping.
Yeah, don't we all kind of have those things where...
Yeah, as much as we fought, or I had issues or problems, he was usually supportive. I mean, he always said he loved me. Even a couple years ago when he thought I was doing bad things, I denied I didn't do anything. He said,
do you think you were stepping out maybe or something like that?
Part of the soccer stuff, but I didn't.
Yeah, just like some of the parents spending a lot of time with them.
The coach.
Coach, yeah.
Just because he's a new person and he was, friendly relationship and nothing ever happened. But he kind of accused me, and he said even if it did happen, he loved me and he'd forgive me. So
if you guys argued, it's more just verbal arguments?
Yeah.
And never physical?
No.
Were they close with him or not?
Yes, very close.
Both kids
especially.
Okay.
He has his dad's passion for music. Kind of self-taught himself to play guitar. Right. Shared the same crazy taste in music. And so, he's probably closer than Kate. Kate's his second me. A lot of times I don't have to say what I'm thinking because it's already came out of her mouth. She'd argue with her dad or be impatient with her dad, but and the next day they'd be, we'd all be back to normal and, teenage stuff.
Right. Like I said, kind of our goal is, we bring the expertise down to kind of look at the scene and help everybody and figure out kind of what happened with the fire and kind of how things are going. I guess can you talk about this weekend, Friday? Is that normal for Owen and his dad to go for walks in?
Yeah, more than the rest of us.
Was that late or after dinner?
No, it was before dinner because nobody could decide where we were going to order from. So finally, Owen sent me a text to order George and Nick's.
So they went for their walk, they came back and had dinner. Do you guys eat like as a family then, or is it kind of grab as you go?
Just kind of wherever. I usually watch TV in the living room. We all like different things, and sometimes he sat in the bedroom and watched the ball game. I don't know really what he did that night. The last time I talked to him before I went to bed, he was out in our sunroom, strumming on one of his guitars. He liked to stay up late and listen. He had different shows. He loved to watch his music in concerts and would tape them. You could find him on Netflix or Sling, some of the documentaries or, a live concert. He was all about his music. I hated his music.
What kind of music is that?
Russ, Jeff Beck, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of times we ate supper at the table, but you know, it was a Friday night, and Owen goes in his room, plays Xbox. Kay goes in her room and watches. You know, she's got a TV on the wall, but most of the time she watches whatever she wants on her phone. Tim and I didn't really agree on shows either, so it was normal that we were different rooms doing different things.
Okay. Are the kids aware that you guys are kind of going apart?
Yeah, because with the last one of the fights a couple weeks ago, they finally said, "Do you think you guys would be happier apart?" But I mean, then the next 2 weeks have been okay. You know, so
You think your last major argument was a couple weeks before?
probably. Probably over finances. I don't know. That kind of always stressed us out. Or
Right. Is that what you kept saying it make you stressed? Because from work, or was it mainly the finances?
probably a combination of both. My mom actually told me how stressed he was at work.
And then what time do you think everybody went to bed?
Like I said, I was probably 11:30, quarter till 12.
Yeah, 11:30, and then you said Tim was still awake.
Yeah.
And then both kids were home by then.
Yeah, they probably went to bed about 10 or actually I woke them up about 5:30.
Did they know you were going to go to the game, or did you have to drive them, or how's that work?
No, they drive themselves to the bus and the bus took them.
Okay. So do you remember Tim coming to bed at all?
No. But I had a sugar low about 2:30, 3 o'clock. And he was in bed then.
And at 5:30 when you got up, does he wake up with your alarm?
No.
Did you guys talk at all?
No.
Did he have plans of getting up and going with you or anything?
Well, usually he sets his own alarm or we'll get up if he's going to go. And, you know, I know it made plenty of noise. I had a light on and I waited for the kids to get all their stuff done. I cooked them some eggs and we had some cinnamon rolls. So I made them some breakfast because I knew it'd be a long day and went in and took a shower once they left. And when I got out of the shower, I said, "Are you going with me?" And he said he didn't feel good. And he rolled over and went back to sleep. So.
What time do you think that was?
Probably 6:30, quarter till 7.
Did that kind of piss you off that he didn't go, or is it?
No, like I said, he wasn't one that we got to go all the time. So we always kind of felt like if they had at least one parent there, we never, you know, even if they did travel basketball and different things, we always felt like if they got hurt, one of us should be there. I don't know if it was having the windows open, but all of a sudden just the dog smell was just, I don't know, it was gagging.
Okay.
So that's why I had lit the candle.
Okay. Do you remember, tell me about that, I guess, then.
I had it in the bathroom with me. You know, he just said he was nauseated and, you know, smells really bother me. So when I left, I set it on his nightstand to kind of get rid of that. Because she had been sleeping there on the pile of dirty clothes beside his bed.
So what time do you think you left?
A little after 7. My goal was to be out before 7 because I knew it was about 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I had to stop to get some gas. I'd never make it all the way.
Did you talk to anybody on the phone? Did you meet up with any other moms, anything like that?
Yeah. But I went and got some cash from Farmers Bank and...
Just to the ATM then?
Yeah.
Were you able to get cash?
Yeah.
So when you were heading out of town, I guess when you left, did you see any smoke or putting the candle in his room and kind of checking on him and him saying he's nauseated?
Went left.
It's like the last thing you did before you left, right?
Yeah.
And then you went out. Then you went and got cash. So tell me about your drive then. Did you catch up to the bus? Did you see anybody?
No.
How far did you get? You said you didn't notice any phone calls?
Well, I was north of Corden, and I finally got a ding.
Was that somebody telling you that there was an issue at your house, or?
My first one was Kate. She had screenshotted a Facebook thing from Shelby that her house was on fire.
Okay. What did you do next then after you saw that?
Well, I pulled over and tried to make some phone calls. I think I tried to talk to her, and our phone got cut off. Kind of a blur. Because I didn't know, should I go get my kids? Because they were freaking out, you know. I didn't know what to do. You know, my first instinct is to protect my kids.
What were you told on the phone then?
That my house was on fire. And Beth Ann asked me, you know, where we were at, because she didn't know. And I remember squealing out, Tim was in the house.
Did you ever try to call Tim?
No.
You know if anybody did?
I know when I didn't answer for my mom, she did. Because if she can't get a hold of me, she'll call Tim. And he didn't answer, so she was freaking out. I don't know if anybody else did or not.
And then, what did you do next?
Well, I finally figured out that I should turn around. And so flew back. I guess I just assumed Tim was mobile and moving.
And then I guess you got back. What did you see? You got home.
I think I either got a text or a call from Owen, and the neighbor kid had told him that he knew somebody was in the ambulance. So maybe that's when I tried to call Beth Ann again. And she told me I just needed to come to the house. She wouldn't tell me anything. And so when I pulled up, I parked, and I could tell by the look on Wayne Dublin's face. For sure.
And that's a lot to take in. You know, and like you said, our job's kind of put things together and try to figure out what happened. And I'm, like you said, I think you said when you're out there, you've watched a lot of CSI shows. What do you think maybe happened?
I don't know. I know that Mike was nice enough to fulfill my wish, well, not wish, my request to see him. And I hope to God he wasn't alive when that happened to him. You know, I don't know what happened. I mean, we're gonna cremate him. That's not what I would have picked in this scenario. That whole fire thing just flips me out. I mean, the smell of smoke now, or Mom's neighbors were having a bonfire Saturday night, about pushed me over the edge to think of that. Tim's my husband. I can't say we were madly in love, but I loved him. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. You know, not knowing. Just, it's crazy.
And that's kind of one of the things we need to determine, but I always talk with people too, because I wasn't there. I mean, somehow this house started on fire, and we need to figure out how that happened, and we're doing the autopsy, and we'll have a good understanding of what their findings are, and we understand that process, right?
Yeah.
We had our lab team down here and the fire marshal down here to do a pretty thorough investigation.
From that, can you figure anything out?
That they're still working up there, so I mean, we'll step out and try to get that answer for you today. And but my goal here is, I want to talk with you and make sure that there's nothing that we need to discuss, because the science is there. We're pretty good at determining things that are going to happen. If it was the candle, they're going to be able to tell me if it was or was not. If it's not the candle, we're going to have to figure out what else was there that might have started the fire. Our indication Tim's a healthy guy. I don't think he's going to, pass of some kind of natural causes and then somehow the house start on fire. That doesn't make sense, right? So, we need to look at all those aspects, but, at the same time, we want to give individuals the opportunity, if they maybe saw or heard something, to help us with the investigation too, because we're going to put things together and it's going to come out, and we want to make sure that we have full understanding. I don't want to jump to conclusions.
So you're a suspect?
We're just trying to figure out what happened. I mean, what would make you think that? I
don't know. I have never been through this process before. I don't know. I know you have to look at everybody, if that's what you're thinking. I don't know. Yeah.
And Barbara, I've been doing this kind of like a long time, and we're good at what we do, and that's why we come down here. And I think most families appreciate that, right?
Yeah,
they want to know.
I'm just...
but I'm also a realist, so I look at things and I prepare myself for if things come back different. Like, is there another explanation that I'm missing? Sometimes the facts come together in a case and they point in one direction, and black and white, it might look like this, but there might be more of the story. And that's my job, is to talk with people,
right.
To kind of get a better understanding. Because I'm going to hear that maybe your relationship wasn't that well with him. And people are going to say that. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But
we didn't fight in public. Tim, I'm more social for people that I like. Where Tim was just, you know, if you went up and talked to him on the fence, he'd talk to you.
Finances were a little tough.
Yeah.
You know, they definitely were. Looked like maybe you're behind a little bit on your house.
Well, we refinanced. We had been like 6 months behind. So we did a loan program. So we had gotten that back on track. And that was just some bad spending and
You know, and sometimes, I guess, how's that going to work out? Was your insurance up to date?
that was part of the mortgage or the escrow and all that stuff.
Do you guys have life insurance?
Yes, and I just had upped his policy.
Okay.
Mine, I'm kind of aware with my diabetes. I think there's 100,000 on me, plus I have 2 years of my salary. And I think at Alliant, his was just a year and a half. And so with their increments, we looked at going up more, but they'll only allow you to go up 25,000. So I had upped him through mine, and he'd gotten approved.
Okay.
And that was just something that we had talked about because his brother died younger. And I really thought I had more on Tim before, but, you know, had missed this process. But, you know, we wanted to make sure our house, you know, things were taken care of. I have extra on the kids. I think I have 25,000 apiece on the kids just to cover if something would happen.
What were you able to get on Mark then? Or on Tim, excuse me.
They okayed him for the 200,000.
Well, I appreciate knowing that because that's the stuff we're going to find out. You know, I guess kind of when the DCA comes in, if you're not familiar with us, we work investigations and then we can only do them one way. So no matter what, if somebody dies, we only have one protocol for doing a case, and that's to the full extent. So we can't come in here and just spend a day and go. We have to spend it and do all our checks on our boxes, right? So, you know, with that, we need to look like cell records and that kind of stuff, and it'll give us a good idea of, you know, where you're at when things go, and you know where you're at maybe when you got some of these phone calls, that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm kind of asking you those questions of where you think you were at. You know, we can look at the bank and, you know, see if you're there. That'll help us with the timeline of when you left. Is there any concerns you have about anything we might find that you want to get out now? Because anything that any nasty text messages you guys send each other, anything like that?
Actually, our conversations were better with text messages. You know, we could be in a room and not talk. But, you know, what do you want for supper? Throw this in the trash or do this. That's how we communicated, was through text messages. There were no bad texts, you know. Trying to work in Owen's room, redoing it. Every time I came out, he was sitting watching the ball game. Could you vacuum? Could you do this and that?
Yeah, you're trying to be super mom, and he's kind of
So
chillaxing.
we had a few words that day. And that's when the kids said, "Do you think you'd be happier?" I always had to get to a little boiling point, and then he would do it.
My goal here is that I prepare myself for when I think that maybe information is going to come out from the autopsy or from the fire investigation that's not going to maybe correlate with the information you're giving us. And the reason I say that is I want to be able to talk about that a little bit because I can understand stressors at home, and I talk with people, and I talk about relationships that you try for years to make right, and sometimes they don't get right, and no matter what you do, there's no good out. And you add finances on top of that, there's a lot of stress going on. Wouldn't be the first person I talk to that is one of those tipping points for a relationship, because I don't think the candle started the fire. I don't think that happened. I think that you're right, the neighbors kind of were outside. I think that, you know, we want to kind of talk about maybe the timing of when the fire started, you know, and then I'm worried what the doctors are going to find at the autopsy. I think maybe talk with some of the first responders about maybe not even wanting an autopsy done.
No, because that whole, not because I don't want to know what happened, because, I mean, Mike and I had that conversation, and it was to Mike. The whole cutting and pulling everything out, even in that shape, just...
And I just got to look at the totality of all that information and try to figure out what's going on and if there's other explanations for it. Because what I think is that maybe we're not being completely truthful about maybe the interactions in the morning. I think just talking here a little bit, we've a little bit of inconsistencies on our conversation. So, I mean, that's my job, is I'm a fact finder. My concern is that there's going to be facts that come up that are suspect of something else happening, and maybe I might jump to the wrong conclusion. You know, if there's something more going on with the relationship, or there's an argument that happened, you know, I need to know that, because I wasn't there, you know, so I can't interject and maybe speculate on what I think happened. I can only go where the facts lead us, and if it's not, you know, I mean, you indicate that you lit a candle, and if the fire guys end up saying it's, you know, fire wasn't started by a candle, and I can't find any other reason for it, I need to figure out what would happen, and why would a fire start in this room?
I don't know. I don't.
And then if the autopsy comes back and there's concerns for that the medical examiner has, you know, I got to be prepared to deal with that. You understand how that works. They run toxicology and that kind of stuff. You know, make sure that there's not any other system failures or something like that in his body. I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think this was a heart attack or a stroke or anything like that. I just don't think that's going to be the fact. The relationships are tough, and I think that things snowball and things get out of control, and sometimes we as people are trying to look at doing right things for our kids. And when money starts piling up and we start looking at outs, I think that that's definitely a reason why things like this happen. You know, maybe Tim's not contributing in a certain way. Maybe there's some way that maybe you're grasping onto a hope that there's a way to get out of this mess. Because, Barb, I think that's what this case is going to show us. I think we're going to find some things that the autopsy is going to say he didn't die of the fire. I think there's going to be, the fire guys are going to tell us that the fire didn't start by the candle. And it's going to leave Mike and I to sit here and say, okay, maybe this was planned and something that Barb thought about for a long time, or maybe it was one of those things where I just can't take life anymore, and it's the only thing I thought I could do to keep my family and keep Owen and Kate with me. I get that, I understand that. But I think that that's what we're going to find out, Barb. And I guess I'd rather hear that from you, so I get at least get a little emotion with that instead of the black and white. Because I think maybe something happened during the night, early in the morning, that you didn't know what to do now. I think that things just steamrolled, and maybe looking back, if we could change things, we would. I think you're a good person. I think that you would change things. But the information that you're giving us is not gonna correlate with what the evidence shows, Barb. You know, we're probably not gonna have you on camera at the bank. We're not gonna have you on cell towers where you're at. The neighbors knew when you left the house and when the fire started. Now's the opportunity to help us understand.
I went to the bank. I have the money in my purse.
But it's not gonna change how the fire started or how he died. You know, I think that we all wish that maybe if it was just an accidental fire, right, that would make things easier. That, you know, maybe that if the house burnt down and people responded, they'd accept that. In this case, they didn't. They called us and they investigated, and I have a job to do.
Right, I understand that.
And I'm going to go through the evidence, and I'm going to have to present it, and I'm going to have to discuss, and I'm going to say, this is not plausible. I don't think Barb's at this other end of the spectrum where she just did this because she wants to be with the soccer coach.
That's like
that's
long
way out
time
there.
ago.
I know, but these are the things that come out of it.
Right,
Talk to
I
you
understand.
about it, Barb. Right? People are going to say, oh, she just wanted the money. It was a life insurance thing. You know, I'm not going to. She wanted him gone because he didn't treat her well. He didn't do anything. He was lazy.
No. I wanted one of my kids to have their father.
What do you think is going to happen when the medical examiner calls me up? Because I don't even need to wait for his call today to know that he's going to tell me there's some concerns here with his body.
I don't know.
How
Tim
are we
was
gonna
in bed
rectify
when I left.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think that that's going to be possible that when you left that Tim was alive.
He was snoring.
And I think that the medical examiners might differ to that. But I'm telling you right now that nobody in this room believes that that's the true story. I think we're leaving some things out. Because I see some pretty bad stuff, right? And I can go to bed and think that the worst, that Barb just wanted the money because she wanted her kids are almost out of school, she didn't want anything to do with them, she just wanted the money to live her life that she didn't get, right? Those are the things that come out. When I look at you, I see a mom that's worked her butt off all the years trying to put a good house before her kids. I see the bills coming up. I see Tim saying that he wants a divorce and he's going to leave you. Maybe the kid's wanting to go with him, and you're losing everything that you worked so hard for, and your life come crumbling down. And I think you're looking for an out. And I think that's what it was, Barb. I think it was an out, and I think we'll find out what happened to Tim medically, and I think we'll find out that the fire was set afterwards to cover that up. Tim might have been quiet towards you, but he wasn't quiet to other people about his relationship problems. He talked about the issues you guys had going on, and I put it with the facts that I see at the scene and the facts that I see at the autopsy. I'm gonna have to add all that up and see what it looks like. It's heavily weighted that you're at fault here. We all know that. I just don't want to get the wrong assumption. I want to get the true story out there, that this wasn't because you were angry at Tim. This wasn't because you were upset. I want to hear that this was done for the reason that you think they were. And I think I know. I think it's for your children. I think you really thought this was the best thing to be able to get them money that you need to survive, keep the house, keep the kids. You guys were going to get separated anyhow, Barb. You know that was coming.
We had lived in this kind of relationship probably for the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Just existing.
Mm-hmm. And that's not a good place.
No, it's not.
Did you want a divorce and couldn't afford to get divorced? Is that a problem? That was a conversation I'm sure you had.
Right, and I had that conversation with my 2 close friends. You know, financially we couldn't separate. Financially, you know, what would we do with the house? I could afford bills, but I couldn't afford for the kids to have their home, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, we just existed that way, and that's the way we were.
Mm-hmm. And without Tim's money coming in, you wouldn't be able to exist by yourself, right?
Right. But like I said, every time that we had gotten to that point, you know, I'm like, why don't you just leave? Mm-hmm. He wouldn't leave. He wouldn't leave his kids.
Mm-hmm. In fact, he wanted to keep his kids.
Right.
Yeah, and maybe he was even trying to get Owen on his side.
And I told Owen that day that when he said, Mom, why don't you two just, would you be happier separated? I said, Owen, honestly, I have stayed this long because I wasn't sure you would go with me.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was closer to his dad. Because his dad was the easygoing one, and I'm the one yelled to clean your room, to do
But you're
this.
also the one that goes to all the tournaments, and you get his laundry done, and you get all that.
Well, Tim did laundry most days.
Mm-hmm. And I get that. So at the same time, you're dealing with that struggle of I've given so much over the years for you. And now Dad, just because you want to be buddies, are politicking against you, trying to separate the family. Mike and I understand that. I can understand where things get out of control. I just don't, help me understand how it got to this point.
It didn't get to this point.
The evidence is going to show that. We're going to track all that back. And it's going to prove that something happened.
The only thing you're going to prove is I didn't go through cord and I cut through Russell.
Why wouldn't you tell me that?
I told him that Saturday. Mm-hmm. But I don't know.
Help me understand
I cut through there so I could drive faster because I was running behind. I don't exactly know what time I left town.
Mm-hmm.
But I stopped and got $200 out of the Farmer's Bank. I didn't do anything.
You started the fire.
No, I didn't. I set the candle there.
And the candle didn't start the fire.
Then I don't know.
Barb, look at it from our standpoint.
I know that.
Right, the fire starts moments after you're gone. Your neighbors are over there trying to pound on the window. Tim's not responsive. Your dog still lives, but Tim doesn't.
Yeah. Right? I don't know why the dog lived. I don't know why this happened.
Right. And I think, on the inside, I think you do. I want to be able to put your story out there, Barb. I want people to understand what happened. Because the truth's going to come out, and it's going to be my evidence only. And that's what I need. I want more. I want us to leave here knowing the full truth, Barb. I don't want to have to ask these hard questions to Owen. I don't want to have to sit there with Kate, figure out what's going on that night, and ask them all the questions. I want to talk to you.
That night was a peaceful night. I baked my cookies and did all that shit, and he did...
Nothing.
No, I'm not saying he didn't do nothing. That night he went for a walk. I don't know if he took the trash out or not.
Was there a conversation between Owen and Tim that
I don't know. They went for a walk.
Things, but...
No, I don't know. I yelled at the kids to get their stuff ready.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I know that half the time we can't find and then you have to dig through stuff. And at 6, when he had to be somewhere at 6:30, I didn't want that to happen. I'm not going to sit here and say I killed my husband. Just because I might be off 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. I did not.
And I think the investigation is going to show otherwise, Barb. I'm confident in that. I wouldn't sit here and tell you that if I wasn't fully confident in that. I think the doctors, we were at the autopsy. We know he has strong concerns on what happened. I have some strong concerns about the stories that you've given because they've changed. I think when it comes out that the fire started and you leave and you drive away, maybe you weren't, why those neighbors have to be outside? Because you didn't leave at 6:50, you left at 7:15. Okay, and I mean, that'll tell us too when you're down at the bank. The ATM's going to have a camera. It shows what time you got your money out. The cell phone record's going to show where you're at when you get the phone calls. So I think everybody's calling you and I think you're scared to answer.
No, I wasn't. My phone was not I got text or voicemails today from Saturday because in the night I did some kind of update.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, how did I miss 7 voicemails? And they're from like Saturday. That weren't there before.
Barbara, I'm not going to argue with you on that because the cell phone companies will tell me if they're connected or not. I don't need you to tell me if they made a connect call or not.
I called Verizon last night trying to get access to Tim's phone because he had all these pictures of the kids, and if the phone was broke, I wanted that. Only reason, because she told me I'd have a court order and everything else. So when they tell you that, that was the reasoning. The kids have been trying to call his voicemail to record it, and it goes to an automated system. I asked him how to get that back.
And I'm sure you are. I'm sure that you're trying to deal with things with Owen and Kate and getting them squared away, but we can't get past what happened Saturday morning, Barb. I mean, it's not going to go away no matter how much we try to spin a story or say things happen this way. Maybe if the house went up in flames and collapsed on itself, maybe we wouldn't have known things. He was not that badly burned. The doctor's able to do a proper examination on him and come to conclusions. You get called by your daughter that their house is on fire, and you don't even call Tim to see if he's okay, and you don't call him because you know he's already dead.
No, I didn't.
No, that's exactly why somebody doesn't call him.
No.
That's exactly what somebody does. When somebody calls and says, my house on fire, when I left, I know my husband's in there.
And I also knew fire trucks and everything else was there. Because that was something that Kate had said. Mom, there's a fire at the house and they're there.
And it leaves Mike and I to think, okay, they've had problems with their marriage since 2010. Tim's expressed concerns to family members that the divorce was imminent and that they weren't getting along very well. And maybe Barb did plan this for months or weeks. Maybe it was that cold and calculated. Because I think that's what the evidence is going to show us, Barb. When I talk with people in the rooms, I guarantee we cannot change what things happen, Barb, but we can go back in time. I like to hear people that say, I wish it wouldn't have went that far. At least give me the information that they feel bad about it. I don't think I'm sitting across from a person that has any of those concerns. And that concerns me. I think in your mind, you were truly trying to do what you thought was best. But help us understand that.
I don't know what there is to understand. Are you arresting me today?
I'm here to listen to you, Barb.
I don't know what you want me to tell you.
That's what I'm here to do today. I'm here to tell you that I have talked with people like you before that have been in situations like this, that when they're pushed up against the wall and things didn't work out like they had planned, I try to talk with them to figure out why. I know how it happened. I know when it happened. I'm pretty sure I'm going to know exactly where and what time it happened. That's going to come out. I'm going to have all those facts, but one piece I'm going to miss is the why, Barb. And that's what everybody's going to want to know, why did this happen? I want to be here to be able to write that end of the story for you, Barb. I don't want to just use the who, what, when, and where. I want to know why things happen. That's important to me. It's not necessary. We could go forward with our case with the evidence we have, and it looks pretty damning. I think things add up, and as human beings, we can only take so much. And then we have to go into what can I do to keep some sense of normalcy? How can I keep my house? How can I keep my kids? And then we have choices to make. Help me understand how we got to where we did. Barbie, you shake your head, but you know I'm right. What was the breaking point for you?
I don't have anything to say. I didn't have a breaking point.
You understand where I'm coming from?
I do.
Right?
I
You
do.
understand how it looks and what's going to happen. You
do.
understand. You watch the TV shows. You're in the medical field. You know they're going to be able to do toxicology and figure out what happened with him. That's going to come back on you. The fire didn't destroy his body. That's going to come back to you, and then it's just going to be evidence.
I don't understand. So
Well, then take me through it. What led up to that decision? Because we know
there was no decision.
he didn't die on his own, Barb. Something happened that morning for you to decide that today is the day. I don't know if it was the timing of the school, him not wanting to go with you.
No.
If it was just the opportunity.
I may be unhappy and depressed with life, but I'm no.
And we're past that. But no, Mike and I are telling you that we're way past on whether this happened by you, Barb, or not. We know that this happened.
Okay, so then you've made up your minds. Can I leave?
You're free to leave. It's not going to change things, though,
I
Barb.
know. It'll just prolong it to another day.
What's going to happen?
I don't
What am
know.
I supposed to-
I don't know what to tell you.
What am I supposed to tell Owen? What you ask me?
I don't know.
What am I supposed to tell his sisters?
I don't.
What happens when it comes back that maybe he was poisoned?
I don't know. Obviously, you have any answers, and I don't.
Hey, Bart. At this point, I'm going to seize your cell phone and you know hold on to your vehicle for right now, pending a warrant, search warrant. So I'll need your cell phone.
Do you have a warrant for it now?
What's that? I'm seizing them right now. The warrant will be signed here. I'm going to give you. I'm not keeping your vehicle, but right now I need to get the warrant signed. Okay.
But how am I supposed to get home right now?
Call them or we'll be right on.
Barbara left the police station. She and the kids lived with her mother as the fire was still under investigation. The results of the autopsy came in. Chief Demery said the medical examiner found no smoke inhalation in Tim's lungs, meaning he was deceased before the fire. Tim and Barbara's son, Owen, asked to speak with the police. Officer Moore met with him at the station. Owen said that the evening before the fire, he and his father had gone on a walk, and Tim had expressed to him that a divorce from his mother would be happening soon. Owen said that his parents' relationship had recently been bad, with fights occurring more often than not. He believed that his mother had something to do with Tim's death. Detectives then spoke with other family and friends of the Pasas. Sonia, a friend of Barbara, said that she and Barbara had gone out to eat one evening about 2 weeks before the fire. Sonia said they were discussing stuff going on in their life, and out of the blue, Barbara stated loudly that she was upset with Tim. She discussed a pending divorce and her concerns about who the kids would want to live with. She also mentioned their financial struggles. Sonia said that Barbara would spend a lot of time shopping for herself, her kids, and her friends. Spending money was one of her favorite things to do. During their conversation, Barbara said that she hated Tim and that if she wanted to get rid of someone, she knew she could. Sonia brushed off the comments as a harmless rant. Tim's friend Rich said Barbara wanted people to know how much she was giving or how much she was doing. She tried to portray herself as the perfect mom and the perfect family. Police located documentation showing that the Pasa home was nearing foreclosure. Credit card bills were past due, and Barbara had maxed out Tim's life insurance. She had also increased the amount on the homeowner's insurance policy. Officer Moore said that Tim was worth a lot more to her dead than alive. The day following the interview with Barbara, dispatch received a 911 call from her mother's residence advising that Barbara was having seizure-like symptoms. She was suffering from an overdose and was transported to a hospital in Des Moines. With Barbara recovering, detectives focused on finding evidence that she orchestrated her husband's death. The standard toxicology test found no foreign substances, so the medical examiner ordered a more thorough lab test. The results showed elevated levels of a drug named propofol. Propofol is a fast-acting drug that is commonly used to sedate patients undergoing surgery. In large doses, it can cause an individual to stop breathing and can lead to death. Investigators spoke with staff at the hospital where Barbara worked. They explained how propofol was administered and disposed of. Propofol is stored in single-use vials, which must be disposed of regardless of whether the entire contents were used. Barbara would have had access to trace amounts of unused propofol. In fact, she was responsible for disposing of the vials. Police recovered the ATM footage of Barbara. The video placed her in Centerville, 2 minutes from her home, at 7:25 a.m. Less than 10 minutes later, at 7:33, her neighbor made the 911 call. When Barbara was released from the hospital, officers were there to arrest her. On May 18, 2018, Barbara Pasa was charged with first-degree murder and first-degree arson. On September 17, 2019, the trial began. According to the defense, the police arrested the wrong person. They implicated a fellow nurse who lived nearby as somebody who could have entered the residence and injected Tim with propofol. Police determined that the nurse had left home that morning at 5:30 a.m. and was not in the area when the incident occurred. Barbara took the stand. She showed emotion and talked about some of her past traumatic experiences and claimed that she would not have taken her children's father from them. Sonia said that Barbara tried to convince people that she was not the evil person everybody knows her to be. Rich said that her tears were phony. The entire thing was phony. The jury deliberated for 3 hours and returned guilty verdicts. The judge sentenced her to life without parole. Chief Milburn said that the sentence was not a win. There are 2 children without a father or a mother, and they will remember this forever. Sonia said Tim should be remembered for the proud dad he was. She said he would be beyond proud of the lives they're living and all their successes. The town of Centerville raised over $20,000 for the kids. They now live with family members and have no contact with their mother. For more never-before-seen cases, click one of the videos on screen or the links in the pinned comment. Goodbye for now.